the sadness in your eyes. I watched you struggle through the days, but I never knew the deeper reason or the promise underneath your pain. I heard, do this for your husband, stand beside him, help him through. So I followed every quiet prompting without knowing what it carried you through. Sometimes I wish you had explained it, let me into where you grieved. I would have held you through the darkness, I would have carried what I could reach. But you knew the way I loved you, I could never watch you fall. If I could not lift the burden, I would have blamed myself for all. I would have carried it with you if you would let me see the weight. I would have entered every darkness and stayed beside you through the pain. But now I understand your silence was the shelter love had made. Thank you for the pain you carried, so it never bore my name. I wish you had allowed me, darling. Loving you was never hard. But thank you for protecting what remained of my tired heart. You said I knew that if I told you, you would beg me not to stay. You would fight the choice I carried and try to love the grief away. And if your pleading could not move me, you would carry helpless fear. You would search my every silence, waiting for the pain to reappear. You already held so many burdens, I could not place another there. So I kept the deepest truth within me, not from distance, but from care. You were not refusing my devotion. You knew exactly what it would do. I would have forgotten how to save myself while trying to rescue you. I would have carried it with you if you had let me see the weight. I would have entered every darkness and stayed beside you through the pain. But now I understand your silence was the shelter love had made. Thank you for the pain you carried, so it never bore my name. I wish you had allowed me, darling. Loving you was never hard. But thank you for protecting what remained of my tired heart. And now I look behind your silence and see love where questions used to be. You were standing between the sorrow and the woman you were trying to keep free. I will not call your silence distance. I will not say you shut me out. You were carrying the cost of knowing, so I would not be crushed beneath its weight. My darling, I still wish you told me that will always remain true. But the ache of not being trusted has become gratitude for you. You knew I would have followed into any fire you chose. And because you understood my loving, you carried more than I would ever know. I cannot thank the pain for what it did to you. I cannot say I am glad you walked that road alone. But I can thank the husband who looked at all I carried and decided she has enough. I can thank the man who bore the loneliness of silence rather than make his wife live afraid beside him. I can wish you had reached for me and still understand why you did not. Both can be true. I would have carried it with you, and you loved me enough not to ask me to. I would have carried it with you. I would have shared your darkest days. I would have held you through the questions and kissed the sorrow from your face. But now I understand your silence was not absence, cold or plain. You were standing in the doorway so the pain could not reach my name. I wish you had allowed me, darling, but I see your loving heart. You carried what might have crushed me, while my love carried you through the dark. Thank you for protecting me when protection looked like silence. Thank you for loving me in ways I could not recognize then. If we lived those years again, I would still ask you to tell me. I would still reach for the weight. I would still say, my darling, let me carry it with you. Because that is how I love. Because that is how I love. But now I know why you held it from me. And my precious husband, I understand. I honor you.